Professor, Physician, Epidemiologist. I am Dr. Sri Banerjee. One person dies every 36 seconds in the United States from cardiovascular disease. About 659,000 people in the United States die from heart disease each year. That's 1 in every 4 deaths. Hello, I'm Dr. Sri Banerjee, core faculty for the College of Health Sciences from Walden University. And in this clip, I will be going over geospatial considerations of cardiovascular mortality. So for starters, thinking about the geographic distribution of heart disease deaths. Now, this is a map looking at the death rate per 100,000. And furthermore, this is looking at a distribution that is by race and ethnicity. But the reason it says overall race and ethnicity currently is because this is looking at all races simultaneously. So this is a composite of all races, and if you see closely that as you see in some other chronic disease patterns, cardiovascular mortality is more prevalent in southern states, looking at Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. Now, more so Alabama and Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. So these are the states that need a little bit more attention in terms of interventions. So if we take a look at subsequent slides, and we look at how this distribution changes when we look at specific ethnic groups. So for starters, if we look at race, if we look at white race, these are definitions as they were constructed by the Kaiser Foundation. So this data is all can be found there, and these were generated. I generated these from data that was available there. So you could create multiple maps within this website. So if we look at the distribution, some of the prominent distributions actually go into also Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, some of the Appalachian states which have predominantly lower socioeconomic status, individuals living in these areas and have higher poverty rates, and so healthcare access is not as adequate as other areas. So this results in poorer health outcomes in chronic disease, such as cardiovascular disease. And these are predominantly white communities that are residing in these areas. So if we're looking further, then now looking at the Black population, look at the southern states in Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Louisiana, Arkansas, Oklahoma, but also Nevada. And then some of the other states which are included are Michigan and Wisconsin. So and then DC. So now, how does that change when we look at the Hispanic population? Well, a lot of the preponderance of cardiovascular disease is not more so in the southeast as much as in the southwest. So the concentration is more Texas and Oklahoma, New Mexico and Colorado. But one that is noteworthy is New York, up in the northeast, and also looking at Pennsylvania. So if we shift over now, looking at Asian or Pacific Islander, then you see higher preponderance of cardiovascular related mortality in Mississippi, Arkansas, and Nevada, but also make note in Alaska and Hawaii. So for instance, if you look more closely, there's a lot of diversity in all of these races. And I know firsthand in Asian populations, specifically South Asian population, I'm of South Asian descent, there's a higher cardiovascular disease and mortality rate than other Asian populations. So some things to keep in mind. how we're constructing these distributions. Finally, if we're looking in Alaska Native or the American Indian population, then a lot of the states that have reservations, for instance, Oklahoma, if you think about the Trail of Tears, the forced displacement of Native Americans from Georgia to Oklahoma, a lot of the current reservations, which I have also visited, have higher rate of heart disease death rates and difficulties in access. So these are also areas that need more attention and more resources. Kansas, Montana, North Dakota. I've also been to South Dakota and also Minnesota and Wisconsin need uh, more attention and more resources as it pertains to cardiovascular disease. So these are, in summary, all of the distributions within the United States of cardiovascular mortality. Thank you for listening.